नमः। अथ ध्यानम्। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी। नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरणनदी कैवर्तकः केशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटम् नानाक्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधना बोधितम् लोके सज्जन षट्पदैरहरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयाद् भारत पङ्कजं कलिमला प्रध्वंसि न श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः।
धन्यवाद भगिनी।
धन्यवाद।
ओम श्री कृष्ण परमात्मने नमः। अथ प्रथमोऽध्यायः अर्जुन विषाद योगः। धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे समवेतायुत्सवः मामखाः पाण्डवाश्चैव किमकुर्वत संजय। मंजरी भगिनी कृपया स्वीकरोतु।
धन्यवाद भगिनी, धन्यवाद. So welcome all to English sessions of Bhagavad Gita classes. Namo Namaha. So last class we were doing 4th chapter, namely Jnana Yoga. So we have seen that Krishna says Shreyan Dravyamayad Yajnat Jnana Yajnaha. He says, so Jnana Yajna is the best compared to all the other yajnas. He says there are Swadhyaya Yajna, Tapo Yajna, Dravya Yajna, and so many yajnas we have seen in the previous shlokas. So Krishna says that out of all those things, Jnana Yajna is the best because he gives the reason. Sarvam karma khilam partha jnane parisamapyate. So whatever yajna you do, finally everything gets merged with jnana. So jnana is important. So whatever you do, if you do with jnana, with knowledge, then you will be getting salvation out of it. So he says to get salvation, anyhow, jnana should come. So jnana is the best, he says. Then next sloka he says how to get that jnana, how to get that knowledge. So what one should do. So then we should search a guru, and then we should do these three things to guru to please a guru. Krishna says tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Pranipatena, by doing Sashtanga Namaskara. One should please a guru by doing these three things, he says. So, Sashtanga Namaskara, that is the symbol of politeness and also preparedness to learn. So, I am ready to learn. So, please give me Vidya. That is a symbol of the preparedness, and also to surrender, that I am totally surrendered to you, like how Arjuna does. And then pariprashnena, by asking questions, and then sevaya, by doing guru seva. And then in the next shloka, what happens when we do all these things, and what happens when we get knowledge? Yajnatva punar mohamevam yasyasi pandava says. So after getting such a knowledge, then you'll never look back. You are never distracted by worldly attractions, says Krishna. So that knowledge is so superior, so supreme. If you get that knowledge, once you get that knowledge, then nothing drags you back. You are not attracted by any other worldly things. So that's why you should get that knowledge, says Krishna. So then next shloka he says, nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitramiha vidyate. So there is nothing as superior or as pure as knowledge. And then uh, even if you have done the sins, the worst of the sinners, if you are the worst of the sinners, by the raft of knowledge you can cross the burden of sins, he says. So no one should feel disappointed, even a person, a criminal who is in jail also should never think that it's too late and I cannot elevate myself. No one should think that. So it's never late. So even if you are the worst of the sinners, Krishna says what you have to do, just board the raft of knowledge. So then what happens? You can cross the burden of sins. Like how a burning flame, what it does, it just burns everything into ashes. Whatever you put into it, so after some time, everything it's burnt into ashes. In the same way, in a fire called as jnana or jnanagni, how much ever worst papa if you put, everything is burnt into ashes. So that's what Krishna says. And then I think today's shloka we need to do. And nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram vidyate tat swayam yoga samsiddha kalena atmani vindati. Where do we get this knowledge? After going to guru and after doing all those things, after learning, actually where is jnana? It is within ourselves. And how we find it? Kalena, gradually, after getting the chitta shuddhi, after making our mind pure, we will get it from within ourselves. Kalena atmani vindati. Bhagini, please read 39th shloka.
Shri Krishna Paramatmane Namaha. अथ चतुर्थोऽध्यायः. Shri Bhagavanuvacha. Is it not Bhagini? Yes. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam tatparah samyatedriyah jnanam labdhva param shantim achirenadhigacchati.
Dhanyavad Bhagini. So in the previous shloka, he says that nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram vidyate. Nothing is as pure as knowledge in this world, he says. And then who and all get knowledge? What one should do to get knowledge? He says in this shloka, three types of people: Shraddhavan, Tatparaha and Jitendriyaha. Sanyatendriyaha means Jitendriya. So these three people, these type of persons get knowledge. And then in the second line, he says what happens after getting knowledge. Jnanam labdva. Once if we get knowledge, then what happens? Param Shantim Achirena Adigachati. It doesn't take time. Achirena, quickly, immediately after getting the knowledge, one gets Shanti. And what kind of Shanti? Param Shantim, the supreme, the eternal Shanti, one gets. As immediately once he gets the knowledge, then he gets eternal peace, he says. So here he says, who and all will get knowledge, and what are the qualities to get the knowledge. So the first one in that is Shraddhavan. The Shraddha is very, very important, and without Shraddha, we cannot do. We cannot do anything. Any kind of whatever, what kind of knowledge it may be, like it may be Laukika Jnana, or it may be Paramarthika Jnana. For any kind of thing, to get something, to achieve something in life, the very important first and foremost thing that a person should have is Shraddha. So without that, we cannot do. Suppose we are trying to get some knowledge, then the first thing is we should have Shraddha, and we should have trust that this is the best knowledge, this is the pavitra, or it is holy, it is sacred, and I must get it. At any cost, I must get it. There may be difficulties, but I will face those difficulties, and I'll bear that, I'll tolerate those things, and at any cost, I should do it. So that is called as Shraddha. And uh, how much ever Shraddha we have, only that much knowledge we'll get. So if a person has Shraddha, and all the other things immediately follow that Shraddha, uh, it is like Shraddha means, we have seen so many people, the people with disabilities also have achieved uh, greater heights in life. We have seen, you must be aware of a woman called as Arunima Sinha. So her leg is amputed. It was because of the train accident. And earlier, she was a national level volleyball player, and she had dreams of joining paramilitary forces. But it was so unfortunate that she was attacked by some thieves on a train, and she was pushed from the moving train. I think all of you must be knowing her story. And she had serious injuries, and she had a surgery also, and her left leg was amputated. But while recovering in the hospital only, she decided to climb Mount Everest. Such a great decision it was, and it sparked the journey of her life. And this was a journey of resilience and determination, that is called as Shraddha. So she becomes the first Indian amputee woman to climb the Mount Everest, and world's second woman, and that is Shraddha. And we have seen that so many people in Paralympics also, with so many physical disabilities, they achieve so much in life. It is because of Shraddha, that is Dhriti, or strong willpower. So in the spiritual journey also, we need such a kind of Shraddha. Otherwise, it is impossible to achieve anything in life, whether it is Laukika Jnana or Paramarthika Jnana. Shraddha is very, very essential thing a person should have. So if a person has Shraddha, then he will get everything. That is the books, whatever he needs, and a good guru also he'll get, because he needs it, because he has Shraddha, he starts searching. So then when he searches, then he gets everything. He puts effort into that. And then if any obstacles are there on the way, like it may be money, some constraints, or health, or gender, like I'm woman, so everything becomes clear if that Shraddha is there. So it is the Shraddha that makes all the impossible things possible. It is the Shraddha that makes an Ayogya person into a Yogya, so a Durbala into a Sabala. So all is possible only by Shraddha. So Shraddha, or dedication, it is very, very important. And a person who is having Shraddha, he is ready to take risks. So how much ever difficult it is, he never sees those difficulties, because the goal is always in his mind. So very easily he steers through all the difficulties and achieves the goal. So, and in our spiritual journey also, this Shraddha is very important, says Krishna. Who gets knowledge? Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. And next is Tatparaha. Tatparaha is one who is totally engrossed in whatever he wants, he likes, or he wants to achieve. One who is totally involved always. One who is absorbed into what he wants to do. So that is called as Tatparata. So he also always reads the books. Suppose it is spiritual journey. So he'll be always reading spiritual books, and he always speaks about those things. And he takes some efforts to reach out to the places where those upanyasas, lecturers, pravachanas are going on. And then always he'll be thinking of those things. For example, if it is spiritual thing, so always his mind will be thinking about those things only while talking, while walking, and while moving, traveling. So every time only those thoughts will be there. So this is called as tatparaha, he says. So in the worldly things, we can say it as a kind of madness, khayali or madness. So we have seen the people, the musicians, the dancers, the artists. So we've seen that most of the times they'll be musicians. So to their, even if they are alone, they'll be singing something, they'll be checking some ragas. So I have seen such persons. And artistic people also, so on their own they'll be always thinking. Dancers, so there are some people, those who always think about that. So that is called as uh, tatparata or tanmaya tatparaha tanmayaha. So all these things. So in the spiritual journey also we need this. That's what Krishna says. Who and all get knowledge? One is who has shraddha, and the other is tatparaha, and the third one is sanyatendriyaha. Three types of people, he said, three qualities he has told. And third one is sanyata indriyaha, means jitendriyaha, that is one who has his senses under his perfect control, one who is not slave of his senses. Because to experience a god, so the experience of god is atindriya anubhava, beyond all the senses. So, what we should do, if we're engrossed in enjoying the sensual pleasures, then we cannot experience God. So, as we know, so we cannot touch God, we cannot see Him, we cannot hear Him. So, what we should do, if we are engaged in seeing or tasting or touching, that is the sensual pleasures, then what happens? The mind will not go towards God, which we should experience without these indriyas. So what happens? A mind, suppose if I say that it is harmless, I like some dishes, or I like some people, or I like some object. So when what happens when I have a bond, a very strong bond with some person or some object, or with something in this world, then the mind goes behind that only. So I became the slave of that. So then there will be no time to think about God, there will be no time to think about spirituality. If I'm deeply attached to something worldly, something that is materialistic, then I cannot go towards God, I cannot seek this knowledge, the spiritual knowledge. So that's what Krishna is telling, jitendriyaha. If a person has perfect knowledge and perfect control over his senses, then he can get the knowledge. So that is the third quality, is jitendriyaha. So shraddha, tatparata and indriya nigraha. So if three things are there, then that person will get knowledge. And then second line, he says that jnanam labdhva. So when he gets this knowledge, then he gets shanti. That's not ordinary shanti, that is parama shanti. Parama shanti means once if it comes, it never goes, it is eternal. So we become merged with that shanti. So that is like experiencing God. That shanti is experiencing God. So when we experience that, then everywhere we will see only God. So what happens? What is the result of that? sorry. So a person who can see God everywhere, he becomes so strong that he can bear any difficulty, anything that rocks him, any difficult, any bad news, or any tough thing that rocks him. He stands like a tall building. Like how if there is a thunder strike on a building, so then what happens? All of us know that there will be metals which will neutralize those electric charges or send them to the earth. So in the same the building remains safe. In the same way, a person who has knowledge, who has experienced God, so how much ever difficult situation come in life, how much ever thunderstorms strike him, he remains like a rock because he has knowledge. What knowledge he has? He knows that this body is temporary and all these difficulties are temporary and the Atma is permanent. So I should not bother for these small, small things. So this is not the only one life for me. This is only for this body. So he has that knowledge. So he is unmoved by any harsh situations in life. That's why who has knowledge, he stands like a rock. He stands like a huge building which is attacked or uh, uh, which is subjected to those thunderstorms. So the building remains safe. The building is unaffected. In the same way, the person who is having knowledge, even if there is a thunderstorm of difficult situations, he stands like a huge building, strong building. So it is because of the acquirement of knowledge, because he has knowledge now. And then what he says, when he gets knowledge, then immediately achirena adhigachati, achirena, immediately he gets paramashanti. It doesn't take much time. But when he gets knowledge, then immediately he gets shanti. Like how if we bring a torch in a dark room, what happens? Immediately there will be within a fraction of a second, everywhere there will be light. It doesn't take time. When we switch on the torch, then what happens? The darkness goes. In the same way, the knowledge and the shanti, they are like a person and his shadow. So they are together always. That's why Krishna says that achirena adhigacchati. If a person gets knowledge, then he will have the peace of mind. Paramashantim. He will always have peace of mind because he is not scared of anything in life. That's why he is always having internal peace. He is always contented. That is the benefit of having knowledge, Krishna says. Bhagini, agre patatu.
अग्नश्चाश्रद्धधानश्च संशयात्मा विनश्यति नायं लोकोऽस्ति न परः न सुखं संशयात्मनः.
Dhanyavad Bhagini. Again, this is very popular shloka. Samshayatma vinashyati. Everywhere it is written. This is applicable for everything. Samshayatma, one who is suspicious always, one who is doubtful, so he can never be happy. It is applicable to materialistic life also, spiritual life also. So Krishna says that. So he has said in the previous shloka that one who is Shraddhavan and one who is Jitendriyaha and one who is Tatparaha will get knowledge. And suppose a person is not having Shraddha, suppose a person is not having knowledge, then what happens? He says. So one who is not having knowledge, one who is not having Shraddha, and one who is ever doubtful. So vinashyati, such a person perishes, he gets destroyed, he says. And for such a person, na ayam lokaha asti, there is no room in this world, and na paraha, nor the higher worlds, and is deprived of happiness, says Krishna. One who is always suspicious. Three people, one who is not having knowledge, one who is not having shraddha, and one who is always suspicious. These three kind of people, they never get happiness in life. And for a samshayatma, this loka also, he can, there is no room for him, and paraloka also there is no room, and na sukham, he'll never get happiness also, he says. So vinashyati means they get destroyed, they get perished, but all of us know that atma, it is imperishable. So here we should take that vinashyati means they will not get shanti, they'll be always disturbed, they will be always having ashanti in their mind. So this is very evident, we all have seen. Suppose there is any doubt in our mind regarding anything, then we are restless. So so what happens is, one is ajnana. Ajnaha means ajnana. So what is ajnana? Ajnana is uh, to believe that whatever is in front of my eyes, I'll believe only that is a truth. Many people do that. So for them, everything we should prove it in the laboratory, or prove it as a mathematical theorem, or show it in the with the experiment doing in the laboratory. And God, we can neither prove him by theorem, nor we can show him in the laboratory. So because God is beyond the reach of our eyes, beyond the touch of our hands, and beyond our hearing, beyond the taste, and beyond the all our sense organs. So atindriya, the experience of God is beyond all our indriyas. But what happens, this ajnani, he always, whatever he can see, whatever he can hear, whatever he can experience by his sensual organs, sense organs, only that he believes. And he never believes the things that he cannot see. Why he cannot see? Because he is ignorant, that he doesn't know. So he thinks that there is no God. He thinks that there is no next life, or there is no previous life. And what happens as a result, and he believes only the body, he never believes the atma. He never believes the sanatana atma which is behind this body. So he believes only the kshanika, the temporary thing he believes. And the nitya, that is the permanent thing, he doesn't believe. And when a person believes only the temporary things, actually the reality is exactly opposite. So the body is temporary and atma is permanent. He believes the temporary thing, and he doesn't believe the permanent thing. So then what happens? So he feels, because if he thinks that, or we think that this body, it's getting one or other day it dies, and it will be buried or burnt. So then there is no next life. So there is no God. When we believe that there is no God, we feel so insecure, and a person is always in fear, a person is always doubtful. And the feeling of the presence of God makes us so strong, so secured. And if we believe that yes, this karmas or papas, that all those things, and a person will not indulge in doing the sinful acts. Suppose we think that our life is just, it ends with this body, then many times people may feel it as meaningless. So to come out of all these things, that is always suspicious, or always insecure, and always nothing is there after the life, then the life becomes meaningless. So if we are able to believe God, then we feel so secured. We always feel that yes, God is watching us, we should do good things, we should never harm others. So all such qualities are coming with the knowledge of God. So when a person doesn't believe such things, then what happens? He will be always ashanta. He will perish, in the sense he will be always ashanta. And then second person is uh, ashraddhadhanascha, ajnaha ashraddhadhanascha, one who is not having shraddha. So a person who is not having shraddha, he doesn't believe in shastras, and he doesn't he will never hear to any spiritual talks. And he thinks that again, whatever he can see, only that if he believes. The meaning is, if he is not showing any shraddha, means we should he is just in the first step, he is not matured, his mind is not matured. That's why he is just neglecting everything. We can see our youngsters. It is because their mind is not matured, because they're not experienced the reality of the life. That's why they are not believing. So they have not yet experienced that there is some Chaitanya that is ruling this world. So to understand that also, sometimes some people, they take some time to get that maturity. All are not like the great people like Shankaracharya, Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya. They all had that realization in a very young age. But ordinary people take time. When they experience the realities of life, after some time they become matured, and only after that the thirst to learn, it starts, the thirst of knowledge starts. So this ashraddha is the initial step of a person, and after that slowly he climbs, he gets shraddha, and then he puts effort. So this is a step, it is thought like that. And then third one is samshayatma. So this samshayatma, it is said that it is not about shraddha, it is not about knowledge. The samshayatma is better than these two people, because samshayatma, he knows that there is something called as shraddha, there is something called as knowledge. So he knows, but his nature is he is always doubtful, he is always suspicious. So he is not ready to completely believe in spirituality. He is not ready to completely go out of it. Like Adnyani is, he is not ready to completely move away of it, and he is not completely able to focus in Jnana, because he is so doubtful. He thinks, what if I totally engrossed in Jnana, then he thinks that I may lose the materialistic enjoyment. If he's totally engrossed in materialistic things, then he may think that, oh, in next life what I should do, I'm doing wrong things. So samshaya, so everywhere he is doubtful, he is suspicious, so he is not able to lead happy life. Always atrupta, he is always atrupta, and he's never bold. He's not having any strong willpower. For everything, is suspicious, so he's not able to take any decision. He is not determined. He is not stable. So that's why Krishna says that samshayatma vinashyati. So one should not be doubtful. So it's very natural for every human being to get some doubts, but he should clarify those things, and then once clarified, he should become determined. Otherwise life becomes very difficult. For every step, every now and then, if a person becomes suspicious, then he cannot do anything in life. So there are things where we take decision, we have to think twice, and we will also be doubtful when we take up a project, or when we take up some things, we also will be doubtful. But what one should do is uh, get those things clarified. So go deeper into the things, study those things, and once those things are cleared, and a person should be very firm, he should never be doubtful. If we are doubtful, then we become very very restless, and always suffering in pain. That's why Krishna says that samshayatma vinashyati. Bhagini agre patatu. Can you hear, Bhagini? Hari Om.
ಹಾ ಭಗಿನಿ.
ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ?
ಹಾ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಿದೆ.
ಸುಕನ್ಯಾ
ಇಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತದೆ.
ಹಾ.
ಯೋಗ ಸಂನ್ಯಸ್ತ ಕರ್ಮಾಣಂ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಸಂಚಿನ್ನ ಸಂಶಯಂ ಆತ್ಮವಂತಂ ನ ಕರ್ಮಾಣಿ ನಿಬದ್ಧಂತಿ ಧನಂಜಯ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ Bhagini. So in the last shloka he told that samshayatma vinashyati. Then how to get rid of that samshaya? Jnana sachinna samshayam. So we should destroy our samshaya with jnana, and then our karmas with yoga. Yoga sanyasta karmanam. All the karmas, all the papas, whatever is there, so that should be destroyed by yoga, and then our samshayas or doubt should be destroyed by jnana, and then one should be atmavantaha. And then for such a person, there will be no bondage of karmas. So first one we'll see yoga sanyastya karmanam. So the karmas, the karma sheshas. So these are the things that bring us to this samsara again and again. So whatever karmas are remaining, as we have seen in the previous classes, so if there is some balance, then we'll be born again. So we have to nullify those karmas or those sins. So for that only we are reborn here. So till when we nullify those things, we need to come again and again. So it is like a loan. If we have taken loan, then we have to pay it back. So to pay that back, we come here. But what happens is sometimes to reduce our karmas, we may come here. But if we do some more karmas, then again we'll be put into this cycle of birth and death. But when a person knows this karma rahasya, then he can escape from it. So what is that rahasya? That is only yoga. So yoga means karma yoga. Karma yoga means nishkama karma. That is doing action without any expectation. And one more is doing it with arpana bhava. So doing any action with arpana bhava and without any expectation means what? Yajna drishti. We have seen this. So when a person does action with yajna drishti, then his karmas will be destroyed. So that is called as yoga sanyasta karmanam. And next is jnana sachinna samshayam. So when we do our actions with yajna drishti, then what happens? We'll get knowledge. That's only is the knowledge. So doing any action with yajna drishti. Yajna drishti means expectations should be zero, and Bhagavad Arpana, do it with Arpana Bhava. So when we do these things, then what happens? We get knowledge. So why we are suspicious? Why a person is samshayatma? It is because there is no chitta shuddhi. So if chitta shuddhi is there, if the heart is pure, then what happens? We can see God, and we will get knowledge, and uh, there will be no impurities in the heart. It is like when we were young. I don't know whether you people have experienced this or not. So some of the our elder siblings used to say that during night in the neem tree and all there will be ghosts. But we used to believe that in the night, but next day morning when we used to walk on that road, when there used to be sunlight, there will be no ghost. So it is when a person is in ajnana, that is darkness, then we may think that there may be pishachis, there may be bhutas, there may be ghosts, whatever. But when the sunlight comes, nothing will be there. In the same way, when knowledge comes, we will not have any samshayas. When knowledge is not there, when we are in andhakara, we'll be having thousands of doubts. So that's why how to kill those doubts? By jnana. So cut those things, kill those things by jnana. That is called as jnana sanchinna samshayam. And then atmavantam. We know that atmavanta means one who can have control over his senses. That is one who is master of his senses, one who is not slave of his senses. Such a person, so he will, these karmas will not bind him, he says. So when a person is away from this indriya karshana, indriyas, some akarshana will be there, no? So then what happens is uh, he is not bound by the karmas. But when the chitta shuddhi happens, so then if that person is also doing action, but is doing it only by the loka sangraha drishti. There will be no ahankara. So he will be thinking that naham karta srihari karta. So he thinks that God is making me to do this action. He never says that I am doing this. It is God who is making me to do this. That is called as chitta shuddhi. So once if a person, if is all the samshayas, all the doubts are killed by knowledge, is all karmas are killed by yoga, and one who has uh, atma sanyama, that is perfect control over his senses, so that person is not bound by the karmas, says Krishna. अग्रे पठतु भगिनि.
आं भगिनि। तस्मादज्ञानसम्भूतं हृत्स्थं ज्ञानासीनात्मनः चित्वैनं संशयं योगम् आतिष्ठोतिष्ठ भारत.
तस्मात् अज्ञानसम्भूतं हृत्सं ज्ञानासिनात्मनः चित्वा एनं संशयं योगम आतिष्ठ उत्तिष्ठ भारत. So tasmat, therefore, ajnana sambhutam, ajnana janya, which is born out of ajnana, and hritsam, which is there in your heart, and uh, jnanasina, that is a sword called as jnana, and which is seated in your heart. So you chitva, you cut that samshaya with the sword of knowledge, and yogam atishtha, be seated in yoga, and uttishta bharata, oh get up Arjuna. So now you have to do all these things and then get up, he says. So he says that cut all the doubts born of ignorance by the sword of knowledge, and take up yoga, and be free and perform your duties, says Krishna. So we all know that there were so many doubts in Arjuna's heart in the battlefield. So he was so confused. He was thinking that if I do war, then also I'll get Papa. If I don't do war, then also I'll get Papa. So he was so confused what to do. So that's why Krishna is telling. So now, by the end of fourth adhyaya, so earlier Arjuna was not knowing about this Atma, body, and all those things. But now he knows that he is different and his body is different, and this death is not the end. And then the body is different, and if he does this war, and then in this war, if he kills his teachers and his relatives, then also he will not get sin. That is, actually, at the time of the beginning of the war, his mind itself had become a battlefield. There were so many things striking him. There were so many difficulties. Oh, how can I kill him? How can I kill him? How can I hurt him? But if I run away from the battlefield, then I will get sin, because as a Kshatriya, I have to protect my motherland. I cannot run away from my duty. So one should do the Niyata Karma. They cannot run out from the Niyata Karma. So all these things, there was a fight, there was a tumula in his mind. There was a fierce battle going on. So now it is one after the other. Krishna is clearing all those things. We have seen in Sankhya Yoga, Krishna gives the knowledge of body, and then the Atma, and which is permanent, which is transient. All those things he has told. And then the third chapter, he tells about Karma Yoga, how to perform action, which was very, very essential for Arjuna in the battlefield, with which drishti he has to do, and how detached he should be while performing the action. And then fourth chapter, he says, perform yuddha, or perform your duty with knowledge. That is, what is that knowledge he has to do now? That is, naham karta sriyari karta. I am not doing. So I am not doing anything. So whatever is God's wish, that will happen. So that is knowledge. So, and then here what he said, telling jnanasina atmanaha samshayam chitva. So with the sword called as knowledge, with that sword he has to cut that samshayam chitva. He has to cut that, and then he has to get knowledge. So it is like knowledge, how much ever others tell. It is only one should digest, one should realize, one should understand. Otherwise, it's not possible. Krishna may advise up to 18 chapters, but Arjuna should get convinced. Like how doctor gives us a tablet, but it is I who should swallow that. So doctor can give it to me, someone can give water to me, but only I should swallow. Only then it starts working in my body. In the same way, so to destroy the samshayas with the sword of knowledge, so it is I who should do that. So the Krishna says that knowledge is also within you, and that samshaya is also within you. So only thing is you have to use that knowledge, sword of knowledge, to destroy that samshaya. Both are within us only. The solution is also within us, problem is also within us. So using that solution, we have to nullify the problem. So that's what Krishna is telling. So jnana sinaha, that is a sword called as knowledge. Chitva, cut that and destroy your samshaya. And then last he says that yoga matishta, be seated in yoga. So yoga means nishkama karma yoga. And then uttishta bharata, how much ever he preaches, how much ever vairagya, jnana, karma, whatever he preaches, Krishna never forgets to tell that, hey uttishta Arjuna, get up and do duty. Arjuna may be thinking that, oh, he is taking me somewhere, so he may forget. No, Krishna never forgets. So, how much ever serious matter he is teaching, later he tells that, yes, get up and do yuddha, but do with different view, that is different drishti. Now you do it yajna drishti, yoga drishti, and if you do that, then you will not get any sin. Do it with yajna drishti. So you have to change the way you were thinking. Don't do like you should take revenge on Duryodhana. Don't do because he insulted Draupadi, so I should do it. Don't take it personally. It is it is your duty, so you have to do it. So whatever comes out of that, you may get sin or you may get swarga, whatever comes, but it is your duty. Sometimes our duties are not very pleasant, but then also we should do. That's why do it with knowledge, do it with full knowledge, says Krishna. Do it with knowledge so that you will not get any sin. But you have to do Uttishta Bharata. Get up, Arjuna, perform your duty, says Krishna. So, with this, we are at the end of fourth chapter. So, I pray Krishna to bless all of us with this knowledge, and we'll conclude here this Jnana Yoga. It is followed by Mangala Shloka and Parayana. Thank you all. Dhanyavad.
ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Bhagini, can we do Parayana?